Well, I started writing about 10 years ago. It's a combination of the stories of the Highlands from my father, because we're very much brought up with the stories of the Highlands, combined with the stories of the Lovat Scouts. And the Lovat Scouts were the reconnaissance force of the British Army in the Boer War, First World and Second World War. And my family were in the Lovat Scouts over that period, and they wrote extraordinary letters home. So I've used those two strands as the basis of the story. You know, our bookshop is doing better and better. It's absolutely thriving. But books are, again, the tie-in of the culture of the cinema. They are very definitely making quite a big comeback. Books about the Highlands and climbing and things like that are very appropriate for Fort William.
So, being a local myself and growing up in Fort William, I've seen the changes and the impact you've had on the community.
Yeah.
And was that always your plan, to inspire the younger generation?
Well, I've had a great career, and I'm from the town and I'm from the area, and I really want to share that. You know, we need active people who are making things happen. I think the Highlands could be really prosperous and really successful, and I think the young could be able to afford to live here and have really good careers. How do they do that? Well, there's no doubt that the open air and the space and the healthy living and the environment we live in is far better in rural Scotland than it is in the big cities down south. If we get really fantastic internet, then you can work and you can have an effective career based here as an engineer or an architectural technician or whatever it is, working from home. You could, our renewable energy is not really generating the revenue it could be for the communities. So we have to change that, because the money being made from wind farms, etc., is going out of the Highlands. We've got to do that. And I am doing a motion at the Highland Council and also through the Scottish Parliament. I'm pushing very hard for 5% of the revenue to go to the wards. So Skye would get 5% of the revenue of wind farms generated in that area. And it would be massive money, massive money. Basically, I read an article in an American magazine that says as retail moves out of the town, you have a real problem. You have a vacuum. It becomes a real problem in the town. And that a town centre bookshop and a town centre cinema could be transformational if they're independent and well run and all of that. So I thought I'd follow through, and this is my gift to Fort William. It's not just a cinema, it's much more than that. It's a social hub. We have a lot of music here. We have, as you say, cocktails. We've got 85-seat restaurants, terrace across the front. So it's much more than just a place to watch films. It's a feel-good social hub. We're runner-up to the best cinema in Britain awards.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went down to London for the event, and we'll win it this year, I'm sure of it.
So you've really went for the authentic style cinema with the sweets, even the local coffee and the old style popcorn boxes, but the really special thing is the car. What is the car?
Yeah, it's a Lotus sports car, and there was a local business guy who was very keen on his cars, and I'd seen one in New Zealand, and I said, we must have a sports car, and he said, as long as it's a Lotus. So he went out and got one from Lotus, and we put it in, and it's really popular for the kids to sit and watch a film in.
Amazing, can we see it?
Yeah, isn't that fun? Very, very popular, especially for kids, you know. Imagine having your birthday treat in there.
So you spoke earlier about the art competition.
Yeah, well, we've had two big ones. We had a portrait competition, basically opened it up to people through the whole of the West Coast to take photographs of the characters of the West Highlands, and they are really beautiful. And then more recently, we've had a red roof photographic competition, and we had 380 entries last summer, and we had to be submitted by the autumn, and we announced the results in January, and they just look great. It's not just about film, it's about the paintings, it's about the photographs, it's about the fact we have fiddle music here. At the end of August there's the Lochaber piping competition. We have on Sundays in the winter, we have children come and play the fiddle. We have the Historical Society. It's a celebration of the arts and culture of the Highlands. So there are two things about the Liberal Democrats. One is they believe in giving power to the region. So Fort William or Lochaber would have its own county council, and we have our community councils, and we have chunky budgets that we can have an influence on. So that's what we really want to do, is give the power to the people. Well, I never thought I'd be into politics, honestly. It's got such a bad reputation, doesn't it, in many ways? But how do you make things really change? So The power is controlled by Holyrood and Westminster. Lochaber, the West Highlands, doesn't have power. We need money here. We need the Corran ferry, we need the A82 sorted out. I'm certainly a trier and I'm certainly a doer, and I've done it in business and I'm doing it in the town with the cinema and things. So I'm definitely going to give it my best, that's for sure. If you care as deeply about the people from this area, you want it to be better for them. You know, so who's going to go out and scrap with the ministers to try and get money and investment in the Highlands if it's not people like me? I'm working really hard. I've set up an office in the town, I've got campaign managers, I'm doing leafleting and flyering, I've raised the money, and I've got a lot of support. So I want 150 volunteers, and they're coming out the woodwork everywhere.